Hey everybody, episode 83. This will be a fast one. It's Sunday night. Just got a few things to talk about, and then we'll get started now. So I got to start with Indiana University football. So if you know me, I graduated from IU. I spent 3 years there, and it was awesome. And I actually, going to school as a high school kid, I did not like IU. I probably despised it. I was not going to go there. It was like this school that everybody went to. Probably maybe considered like Madison here, where a lot of people, everybody goes there. I was looking at other places. And then sometime in my senior year, I visited someone, I don't even know who, but I visited someone who was already there, someone a year older than me, and I spent a weekend there, and that was it. I knew I was going there. So that experience changed everything I thought I believed in at the time. So I ended up going to Indiana. So if you follow college football at all, I'm going to give you some stats. So the last 3 seasons, IU football, 9-27. Last year, 3-9. Never been 10-0. Lost to Michigan 27 out of 28 times. The last 28 times they've played, they've lost. Never been ranked in the top 10. And when I went to school there, tickets were free. The stadium was half full. It didn't have there was no juice to it. The stadium doesn't even look, now you can't really recognize it. It's changed so much. But football wasn't a thing. We were still great at basketball. I was there at the end of Bobby Knight's time. We went to a national championship game while I was in school, so basketball was still the king. So it's a little strange for me for my school to be currently ranked 5th in the country. I've told people I don't know how to handle it. I don't know how to behave. I've probably been a bit obnoxious because I kept up with IU football, but it was sort of the same thing. We'd win our first 3 games against some small schools, and then we don't win a game in the Big Ten. So to be here is a huge, I don't know what to do. Also, as a Colts fan, my favorite team in the world is terrible. We're in disarray. We don't have a quarterback. It's just a mess. We're in the worst place you can be. We're average, not even average anymore, but it's just bad. Everything's bad. So I have this other team that I'm not used to watching. And so I can tell you, yesterday watched the entire IU Michigan game, and I have not sat and made sort of appointment viewing to watch an IU football game years, if ever. So it's been pretty neat. But the one thing I'm getting to is how incredible it is that someone came in and turned it around in 1 season. So we got a new coach, Curt Cignetti. I'd never heard of him. He coached a school called James Madison, which I think he was a president once. And it's probably somewhere in the Northeast, maybe. I don't know where James Madison is. Virginia, maybe? I don't know. But I'm very curious in the culture change that someone can bring to that. The leadership he brings. And he did an interview I watched recently that he talked about when he came to IU. He said there was like a dark cloud over everybody. The administration, fans, players, everybody in the building. And he made a decision that he was not going to let those people lower his standards. He was going to force them to raise theirs. And he was very bold. If you Google him, one of his famous quotes now was at a press conference. He was asked something. He said he was asked it for the 15th time, and his answer was simple: Google me, I win. And he walked off. And if you Google him, he went 10-0 last year with his team. So one person comes in and takes a team that is bottom of the Big Ten, bottom of college football, and in months has them possibly headed to a playoff, fifth-ranked team in the country. I don't necessarily agree with that if you're a college football fan, but we're good. But I think there's fifth is a little high. And I just find it incredible. I hope I've been someone in my career that I've gone to a place and turned it around. And I brought it up because one thing I enjoy doing in my career is taking a place and making it better. I hope I've done that. I went to a small club in Indiana, Warsaw, Indiana, my first director job, and was there for 3 years, and it had nothing going on. And by the time I left, we had a full membership, would not take any more members, all the courts full, to the point where my owners approached me and said, there's nothing else for you to do here. The club's basically too small, the town was too small, and told me it was time to go. And, gave me time to find a new place. But came to Moreland. If you're a Morelander, it didn't have a whole lot going on, didn't have an identity. And I think after 15 years, we, with a lot of help from coaches and staff, turned it around. And that stuff interests me. But the culture shift is incredible. And if you've played sports, you've probably had coaches that are weak, not very good. You didn't like them. And then you've had one that's great and have that experience of turning things around. So I don't really have a end to this. I just think it's awesome. Yes, it's my school, but if you're into the coaching world and leadership, just go check out this coach and listen to him talk and the things he's done to grow that program. With all that said, I fully expect Ohio State in 2 weeks to beat the heck out of us. I hope I'm wrong, but they're Ohio State. They're good. We played there, and I'm just hoping for respectable score. A victory would be incredible, but I'm not seeing it. So moving on. So we just I'm gonna try to talk about this without getting myself in any trouble. We just had an election, so I'm recording this on Sunday after Election Tuesday. And things in the tennis world, whether it's social media, at the club, got pretty difficult for a lot of coaches. I'm not just specifically speaking about my situation at the WAC, but we've heard a lot of stuff, conversations on the court, in the lobbies, on social media, people just about as angry as it gets. I've had some things said to me, and our coaches have had said things to me. I treat it sort of like a tennis match. I'm on to the next point. So should everybody else. Something happened, and I sort of told everybody, I wake up the next day, regardless of who won, and I'm going to do the same thing I did if that other person won. I'm going to get up, go to work, do my job, try to be decent human. All the same stuff. I move on, like we've talked about on a tennis court. So if you're struggling with that, just move it to your tennis game. What do you do if something doesn't go your way? You grab the ball, let's go, call the score, next point, deal with it. I also think you can take some lessons from it, that if you don't like the outcome of it, play better, practice more, plan better, add more tools to your toolbox. Make it impossible for someone to beat you. Make it impossible for someone not to vote for you because you've put in all that time. But it's going to be okay. I've been doing the same thing for the past 4 days, 5 days that I would have done either way. And I'm pumped. I get no more ads, no more calls, no more texts, no one yelling at me, no friends telling me that I'm evil on social media. Not me specifically, but whichever way you go, everybody's got a side. But just turn it into tennis. What would you do if it didn't go your way? Hopefully you don't yell at your partner and call them names. You figure out a way to get the job done. My real last thing is I've had some groups recently who struggled to believe in the rules. Again, I speak mainly on doubles. That's primarily what our club is. what I enjoy coaching. And they struggle because they won't follow the rules. And if their job is to cover the center of the court, they still kind of lean the other direction to cover the alley too, or they'll take a step back and also cover the lob. So we had a conversation about you've got the whole court, so 100% of the court. What is the percentage that you and your partner can cover? I argue it's definitely not 100%. You can't do it. It's a huge space for two people. You can't cover everything. But what you have to learn to cover and close off are the big spaces. Don't let them have large spaces, right? Middle of the court. Okay, those cross courts. Give them the alleys. Give them when they want to change direction all the way across the court, past two people, over that little bit higher net to a small space, striking the ball where it's headed towards out of bounds. But you can't cover everything. Leave the small spaces behind. And I have so many players that if they would learn to believe that, they'd be much, much better, that you've just got to let it go. So I did a little experiment on Saturday morning. I think it was Saturday and Thursday morning. Doesn't matter. You guys don't care. Where I had a team, it was Friday morning, by the way, I got it right. I had a team that walked on the court so worried about a lob because the person on the court across from them is a good lobber, for sure, one of the best. But they were so worried about it that they were covering the lob and giving up the rest. They were getting killed down the middle. They were getting killed on short balls. They weren't in a position to be offensive and put the ball away because they were so worried about it. And I kept telling them, just stay up. Who cares? So then I started counting. I like to keep stats on the court. I'm terrible at math, but I can do tennis math. I think I could teach a class in math if it was all tennis based. So a lob would go over their head, and I tracked a bunch of points. And we got to a point where this person attempted 9 lobs total over the course of, let's say, 15 minutes. 9 times attempted. The receiving team of that won every single one. And I had to just keep telling them, listen, if that's the case, don't we want that person to lob? We should beg them to lob because every time they lob, we win. And I think it's important to know that and it's sort of my next topic a little bit is not reacting to things until they've happened. I've always talked about staying neutral a little bit longer. And I think it's very wise to, if you're worried about a shot, ask yourself, is that the shot that's going to beat us? Are we going to lose this match because of that? In this case, the lob wasn't going to beat them. It was other things, but they were so worried about it. And so one of the things that, a list of things that my players, and again, if you're listening to this, you know me, I generally live in the adult world now. After spending 25, 30 years in the junior world, I switched over. And things that people struggle with, probably the top ones are overreacting to small moments, just constantly overreacting to things, not trusting their partner, not believing the rules, and number one is getting too close to the ball. It's all the time, every day. I will have it tomorrow, all day long, 1,000 times. Because when the ball's hit, this urge to go somewhere and do something. Well, sometimes they hit the ball right to you. Sometimes you've got to wait and see what they're going to do before you can do anything. How do I move on the court if they haven't struck the ball yet? And I think there's a lot of improvement that could be had if people would just stand still a little bit more and stay neutral. So if you're a player or a coach, I'm going to give you a challenge to the 6 people that listen to this. 2 of them are my parents. So really probably 4 people. Put 4 players on the baseline. Coaches, you can do this. I guarantee you. Put 4 people behind the base, just behind the baseline, all 4 back on opposite sides. They're playing each other. Feed a ball to the receiving team. And I guarantee you that all 4 people will take a step forward. Again, this is the club level. So they're in a good spot. They're right behind the baseline. All the play is in front of them. As soon as you strike the ball, they're going to step in. And guess what we call that area? You know, right? You're not supposed to be there. You're not supposed to stay there. Everybody does it. Nothing's even happened. It happens every day. It's going to happen to me tomorrow morning. I'm going to feed a ball. All 4 people are going to step forward before the first ball is even struck. It's true. I will buy dinner to anybody if this isn't true. It'll be a cheap dinner of like $1 at Taco Bell. Sometimes just learn not to react until something's happened. Especially if you're on the baseline. Wait, let them hit it. If you're at the net and they're hitting a ground stroke, you can move right and left. I'm not saying that, but the forward, because then you get too close to the ball. You don't have time to react. You don't see it as well. A lot of mishits. It hits you in the face. So I told a story, and it's true, but I probably exaggerated a little bit. But so I've got 3 kids, and when they were young, even now, at some point, I think my wife and I don't know if we discussed it, but we created sort of a world where we were not going to be the chaotic, crazy, running everywhere, always late, panicking to get stuff, and one kid's at baseball, and one's at softball, and one's at volleyball, and one's at Girl Scouts, and one's got work, and we're trying to do things. We never went to that. Our kids kind of had one thing, and that kept us sane. My kids now like to be at home. They're all at home right now, right? They're good at home. It's a safe, comfortable place because we spend a lot of time there, and never had those chaotic, crazy times that a lot of parents have of going to one thing to another and splitting duties. And it just wasn't for us. I'm not judging all of you that are doing that and have done it. It just wasn't what we thought was good for us. So what I'm trying to get at is it's okay to chill. It's okay if someone hits you the ball to stand still and take a good swing and stay balanced. It's not lazy, it's efficient. If your coach ever says you're being lazy, just come back with, no, I'm not, I'm being efficient. I'm neutral. I am very prepared for what's next, but what's next hasn't happened yet. So I want you to try to, if someone hits you the ball, if it's coming to you, it's going to bounce, it's in your general area, do not charge forward. You'll just get too close and will not be able to take a quality swing. It's boring, but neutral longer. My cat, Pumpkin Cat, is sitting right next to me. You know what he's been doing? Looking at me. He's not running around crazy. He's just looking at me. He is waiting for something. Probably his treats or to play with him, but he's not running around the house all nutso. He's sitting here patiently like a good cat. Now, my dog Willie, he may be a little crazy. He hasn't learned patience yet, but it's okay to let the ball come to you, especially in a drill. Let your coach hit it to you. We are trained to do that. I've told people many times, I'm not good at a lot of things, but I am fantastic at hitting a tennis ball to your strings at the right time to make you look good. One of our jobs as coaches is to create success and make that easier for you. And then as you get better, we make it harder. But initially, if I want you to practice something, I'm going to hit your strings. Just don't screw that up. Let them hit it to you. Let your opponent hit to you. Don't freak out. Don't overreact, all those things, but just chill. You don't have to always be running, jumping everywhere, because it's a common thing at any club. Just watch next time. That's all I got. See, I'm at 19 minutes, piece of cake. This is episode 83. I'm trying to get a little more on the regular schedule. I may or may not, but anyway, you guys know how it works. Let me know if you got questions, comments. Follow me, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Most of these are recorded on YouTube as well. I kind of do YouTube as a backup in case the sound goes crappy with these, so I always have it. But looking forward to talking next time. Go Hoosiers. Colts suck, but I've got one Indiana football team. We're also ranked higher than Notre Dame. I don't consider Notre Dame Indiana. It's his own place. But we are the highest ranked team in Indiana right now. So looking forward to Ohio State in a couple weeks, maybe. That's all I got. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you later. See you on the courts. Bye-bye.